What's up, guys? Happy Tuesday night. Welcome to Deep in the Plus. I'm Rob Whiteside. I'll be your host tonight. And you know what? Tonight we're going to be talking about The Good Dinosaur. You know, when you have a Pixar pick, I got to go to my Pixar buddy. It's Eric Wolf. Eric, dude, thank you for being on, man.
I'm so glad that I'm on. I'm excited. Really excited.
Yeah, I mean, we've done a couple together. We did. I know we did the Santa Claus movies, and that was a lot of fun.
Yes.
But you are a Pixar guy. I mean, you can see behind you. You've got it all decked out with Pixar. You're my Pixar go-to guy. You know, Jill and I did Brave. That was kind of a one-off. This is you're the Pixar guy. I know you love Pixar. What is it you love about Pixar as a whole that drives you?
Wow, that's a good question. I gotta say, I think it's just the fact that they take their time. They really take their time with their characters. The character development for Pixar movies are normally just so good, so on par, and for the most part, the story is also something that they take really good time on, and it's not necessarily like a cash grab like other studios. So I really enjoy that, and I enjoy that most of their movies have heart as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. So we went into the Pixar catalog and we pulled up Disney Plus, and we're going through and we're looking at things that we could do. And you know what? There's a lot of good ones. I mean, there have been 23, not including Luca, which will be 24 when it comes out.
Yeah.
23 full-length animated features and, of course, a lot of shorts. And as we're going through, one of them that I feel like needs some attention is The Good Dinosaur, right? Because it's got so much controversy around it as a whole, because I feel like a lot of people just completely dislike this movie. I mean, has that been your find as well?
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's like angry sometimes about it. It's really weird. If we go to some of these lists, like ranking, and this was on our site WDWNT, ranking all 20 at the time Pixar movies. You can see they said Cars 2 number 20, and then The Good Dinosaur number 19. And if I pull up Rotten Tomatoes, here's all the Cars movies, which shocks me. And then The Good Dinosaur at number 20. Variety, right there at number 21 when it came out. Collider put Cars 2 at the end, and then The Good Dinosaur. So, I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of, this isn't so great. And it's got a rocky start, too, though, because I saw them unleash this at, I think it was the 2011 D23 when they called it the one about dinosaurs.
Yep.
Are you familiar about going that far back on it?
Yes, I am. I've been being such a huge Pixar fan. I've been following all these news. I was never able to actually go to D23, but through our site, perfect time, perfect place to be able to get all that information.
Yeah, and it was supposed to come out in 2013, and then they moved it to 2014, and then they moved it to 2015. But in 2013, it was supposed to have Lucas Neff, John Lithgow, Frances McDormand, Neil Patrick Harris, Judy Greer, and Bill Hader. They actually brought them out, and I think it was the 2013 D23, brought them out on stage when they knew it was called The Good Dinosaur, and they explained a little bit of the story. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't think Neil Patrick Harris was there, but Bill Hader was there, and Judy Greer was there. Yeah. And I was just like, man, this is going to be a heck of a movie. And then it gets pushed off again and again into 2015. So it's got a lot of rocky start to it. So already, but you would think that makes it better. You would think that they would go, look, we know we've got a good product here. We just need to knock out the kinks. But that's not how it went.
No, not at all. And I feel like when you have, especially with Pixar, when you have Pixar kind of pushing their movies back and back and back, there's something to question. There's something huge to question when they keep on pushing them back, and it's not because Luca or not because of COVID, kind of thing.
Right.
If there's any other reason that they're pushing it back, question mark, huge question mark.
Yeah. So when the movie opens up, and this was the original premise as well. The idea was that dinosaurs survived the comet coming to the Earth, right? So when the movie opens up, we see this huge like rock hurtling towards Earth, and then as it's like impending doom, it just flies by, and they kind of look up and go, "What?" And then they go back to doing whatever they were doing. So that was the original like pitch that they made when they showed it at D23 was like, what, I think Pixar always asks like, what if, right? Mm-hmm. So they were like, what if like this, like it didn't hit the Earth, and then what would have happened to dinosaurs? How would they have evolved? And I pictured more of like a Zootopia sort of a thing where they're, and I don't know why, where they're wearing clothes and all that kind of stuff, right?
Definitely. It's just one of those things. It's like, yeah, the concept of this movie just makes more sense to go that route.
So the idea is that after 65 million years, dinosaurs are still around after this, but instead of actually like wearing clothes and being like, I don't know, just citizens, like again, like a Zootopia thing, they're still dinosaurs, but they're also farmers. And so, like they use their heads to dig trenches and make, gardens, and they have farms and they have families, and they make silos to put their food in for the winter. And I mean, there's a suspension of disbelief here, but like, is that what they would have done? I don't know.
Right? And the other thing is, like, it's so funny that you say that. And even in that beginning part of that movie, like, we see I don't know how many different types of dinosaurs that we don't even see in the movie. Like, it was, I don't know, this movie.
So it's got a Western feel to it, because there's farmers and then there's ranchers, which we'll talk about that later. But there's farmers, and you've got Libby, Buck, and Arlo are the three kids that are born. And I think originally there were supposed to be 4, and they went and they took it down to 3. And so Libby and Arlo and Buck. And so Arlo is the baby. He's the runt. He had the biggest egg for some reason, but then he was the smallest dinosaur. Adorable. Yeah. Like this baby Arlo that was in this movie. I mean, there needed to be billions of plush made of that. That's baby Arlo on your shelf behind you, or is that regular Arlo?
So that'll just be regular Arlo. Just regular, yeah.
Still adorable. I mean, he looks a lot like baby Arlo. I mean, so yeah, absolutely. So they the parents are just as excited as can be that they have these 3 kids, and they're going to help them to teach them to farm. They're going to help them farm. Everything's going to be great. But as Arlo grows up, he is not as big a helper, and he's very scared. He's a scaredy cat, so he doesn't actually help all that much on the farm. He's more of a hindrance. His big brother Buck like mocks him constantly. I love the little scene when they first open up and he comes out of the egg and Buck is like got the stick and he's whacking everything with it. I mean, it's just the comedic timing of that is very cool. And from what I understand, it was the 3rd act of this movie that was always the problem. So I think the introduction of it has got a lot of what you were talking about before with Heart.
Yeah. Definitely. This first part, especially because you get introduced to these characters that we're going to be spending the rest of, we think we're going to be spending the rest of the movie with, but we also get to understand Arlo for who he is because of how he grew up and where he grew up. And being the smallest one, because being the smallest one doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to end up being the way that Arlo is, but you get to see how Buck and Libby are compared, and it's like, oh, okay, now I understand Arlo, Yeah.
So let's take a look at the animation. The scenery is freaking fantastic. The detail, the rocks, in the dirt, like the foliage, the shadows, the foreground, the background. But Arlo and the dinosaurs, like in his family, they're just kind of funky looking, aren't they? I mean,
yes, they're and again, very stylistic.
No offense to you and Pixar in general, because we love Pixar. Yeah. Love Pixar. Just he looks funky though.
He does, and I think they do that a lot with their films, because even you take You take Soul, which is set in like supposed to be set in the real world of New York and stuff like that. They're very characterized, very caricatured, like art designs for the main human characters. So it's something that like I personally enjoy, and I enjoy those different art styles. Honestly, if I didn't, I wouldn't be collecting all these Funko Pops, because each one, yeah, they're the same, but they all have different nuances to them.
Yeah. I'm kind of laughing here because in the chat, they're fixated on the fact that this character's name is Arlo. They're like, don't talk about Arlo that way, because we have a Wigs member, Penguin Project. Arlo, we love you, Arlo. We are not talking about
Yes.
you. You know that. You know that that's not what's happening here. But it's just really... just they're don't talk about Arlo that way. And honestly, again, just back to like, you know, Pixar Arlo. He's kind of a cute character. I mean, he really is. But even like that aside, like let's just take Arlo out of the picture for a second. The dad, like, I mean, it almost looks, I don't know, like,
yeah,
like his face looks like, I don't know, it's just weird. So
it was. I feel like these designs were like, okay, we're gonna take dinosaurs, but then because of the fact that they don't have any like construction equipment, then it's like, okay, like we have to design their like face to be able to like dig those ditches and stuff like Libby does, that we see Libby doing. And so there's definitely like stylistic choices because of the fact of they're farmers.
Okay. Yep. I you know what? You sold me. You sold me. I will give you that one. Here's a question. Why is it called the Good Dinosaur? Does that make the rest of them bad dinosaurs?
I don't know. I don't know. And the funny thing is that I don't even think Arlo's like that good of a dinosaur. You know, like if you put it into that perspective also, I'm like, I don't know.
So Arlo's a scaredy cat, and he's given the job to protect the silo, because again, they're dinosaurs. They have a silo. They were making their mark on the silo in that clip, and a critter comes up, and we don't know at this point what a critter is in dinosaur world, right? We don't know. Like if you watch the TV show Dinosaurs that we reviewed on here with a while ago, like their critters were kind of ugly, nasty critters, and so he's keeping watch. A critter snaps the trap, and you find out that it's this basically little cave boy, who has no name at this point. And so he decides that he doesn't bring himself to be able to like kill it, so he wants to let it go, and then it causes all these problems. And then Dad now was like, hey, you didn't do what you're supposed to do, Arlo. This is the teachable moment. I'm taking you. We're going to chase him down, and we're going to get him. And so like they go off after this little cave boy, and you know, if that doesn't happen, the story doesn't happen. Like if they don't go off to do that, the story doesn't happen. And so in this, he goes off, and as in every Pixar movie, super sad moment where Mufasa falls off the ledge. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Where the dad falls off the ledge and he's gone, and so it's Arlo's fault, or at least he feels like it's his fault, because if he had just killed that darn critter, this wouldn't have happened. But there's always, I mean, it's kind of a like this plot device that there's always an absentee parent or two. In Frozen, both the parents die, and you know, in all the princess movies, there's one or both of the parents are gone. And so there is like, this is what creates the hero's journey, is the fact that he doesn't have that anymore, to either keep him where he is, or to protect him, or to tell him that this isn't what he should do. So now Dad's gone. They mourn him. I always feel like, oh man, because he gets swept off. Like maybe he's gonna, maybe, maybe. But anyway. So they go back, you know, to their lives, and they're trying to keep up, but just without the dad, it just makes it very difficult to farm. And I'm sure that's a very true story in life. Any farmers who, like, the main the like provider of the farm, who knows all the tricks of the trade and has been doing it for all these years, passes away. Everyone else has to gather around and try to pick up the pieces. And so with this one, they're trying to do that, and Mom's doing everything she can, and she needs to have Arlo's help. And then the critter comes back, and he chases them away, which again takes him on that journey where he chases him because he's determined that you're the guy. If it weren't for you, Dad would still be here. Mm-hmm. So, he goes off and after him, and then, then it sort of becomes a buddy movie at that point, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, because you do have you do have those, what am I trying to say? You have those scenes with both of them, and actually both of them for a lot of this movie.
Yeah. There are some scenes in here, and I can't play it because I'll get snagged, but where the music reminds me of Animal Kingdom, and so which is weird because there's a lot of it, like I said, that's Western, but in this particular case, he's gone off into the woods. He's trying to chase down this critter, and they sort of take turns protecting each other. Arlo can't find his own food. The critter, I'm going to keep calling him the critter because there is a time where he gets a name. This little cave boy goes through all these motions and tries to give him food, tries to give him live food. Arlo doesn't want anything to do with that. Finally brings him berries. Arlo's like, yep, hit me up with some more of them berries. And then, then they come across this very strange character. And it's a Styracosaurus. So here's a shot of our Styracosaurus and all his little friends that he has. So he has all these friends that protect him, which is amazingly cool to think that a dinosaur would have all of these protectors, because he is also afraid. And he also hides in the shadows, and he sees how much the critter has protected Arlo up to this point. He's been watching that, whereas Arlo's still just angry with him, and he just is like blames him for his dad's death. So in this one, at this point, the Styracosaurus says, if I can name it, I'm going to keep it. And then now all of a sudden Arlo's like, no, he's mine. And so they go back and forth, and he calls him by the name Spot, and he comes to him. So, which is, again, that's the joke, right? Is that the human is the dog, and the dog's name would obviously be Spot. So, I don't know. It's a fun little scene after we've had a lack of, it's just been the two of them up to this point. And, again, they're taking turns saving each other. So, and who voices the Styracosaurus? So,
off the top of my head, I don't. I watched it today just to get, a refresh because I haven't seen this movie in a while.
Yep. And I'm going to probably butcher his name, but it's Peter Sohn. Is that how you say his last name? The director?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he actually does the voice, which is something that happens in Pixar movies a lot, like Heimlich. Yep. They get a character and they're like, no, he sounds like this. And they're like, then why don't you just do it? And so he is actually the speaking voice for the Styracosaurus.
Oh, that's cool.
I would like to do this, Eric.
Yes.
I don't think you're ready for this, but I'm going to do this anyway. I'm going to ask you some trivia about this movie.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
Get ready.
All right.
Are you ready?
I think.
Okay. With the Styracosaurus, and again, if you're watching this, play along. Play along in the chat. We would love to hear.
Yeah, please.
If you guys have some answers, you might need to help Eric out here. So, the Styracosaurus has a bunch of little, as we saw, a bunch of little protectors or pets over and around him. He's got one that saves him from the little named Fury that keeps the creatures that crawl in the night away from him.
In the night,
and then he's got Dream Crusher, who protects him from having unrealistic goals. The one that protects him from mosquitoes, who is a little fox. What is that character's name?
Oh, Murder.
I would love to see if anybody in the chat knows this as well, because they go through it and it's funny, but there's it's like a little like a Finnick Fox type of a thing, but a prehistoric version of it, and sitting there and he's like, oh, this is Fury. What's the next one?
I'm gonna go with murder.
Wow. No, it is Destructor. Okay. And for bonus points, do you know the bird's name? Because he yells the bird's name a lot. The bird doesn't actually have a job.
Oh man, no, I can't think of it.
So it's you got again Fury, Destructor, Dream Crusher, and Debbie.
Debbie, yes.
Yep.
I was like, it's not even one of those like weird names. It's a normal name.
Yep. Man, I don't feel good about you on these. I'm there may be a little bit too hard for you. Do you know the Styracosaurus's name?
The Styracosaurus's name?
Yeah, the one with all the pets on him. He's got a real name, which I don't know where they came up with the real name. And he's got a name that they use in the credits, but they never call him by a name in the movie. So that's why I thought maybe you would know this one.
And the funny thing is that I was paying attention to the credits when I watched it today, because I was like, Bill Hader's not in this movie. I just remembered.
Right, because he was cut, early.
He was
early
cut,
drafts.
yeah. Oh, man, I have no idea. Chad, help me out.
I don't know. They haven't been they haven't been kicking in too much here for that one. So it's the pet collector. That is how he is listed in the credits, as the pet collector. But for some reason, his name is Forrest Woodbush.
Okay, so I've heard the pet collector, haven't heard that one.
Man, I got two more for you, Wolf, and I feel like it's not looking good. I thought maybe I thought maybe I was hitting you in the wheelhouse here. All right, John Ratzenberger is famously in every Pixar movie. He is their lucky charm. He was Cliff Clavin on Cheers. He was the Underminer in The Incredibles. He was P.T. Flea in Bug's Life. He's Ham in all the Toy Story movies. In this movie, can you tell me what character John Ratzenberger plays?
I'm gonna go. I don't even know what the dinosaur is even called.
Just get me in the ballpark, man.
I'm gonna go. He's one of those feathery raptors. He is one of those feathery raptors. I just don't remember the name.
Yeah, that is correct. He is one of the rustlers, as they call them, because
yes,
yeah. When he meets up with the Western folk, there are these things that are these little rustlers, who are I would assume that these are supposed to be like velociraptors, because they have they're hunting in a pack, they have the feathers, all of that.
Yeah.
But obviously they don't look like our traditional knowledge. This guy right here is Earl.
Yes. There we go.
Yeah, that is the character that John Ratzenberger plays as Earl. But again, not I'm good with the fact that you knew that it was in that family right there. Last question, then we can move on. Is what is Arlo's dad's name? Go.
Henry.
No. Yes.
Henry.
Yes, exactly. You nailed it. And why do you know that it's Henry?
Okay, so I laughed at the fact that Arlo's so small in the movie, but when he comes back home, his mom is like in the field and she looks up and she's like, Henry? And I was like, Henry was huge. Like, that's definitely not Henry.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, they like the mind plays tricks, right? So she sees him and she's like, that could be him. I don't know. But yeah, so Henry, yeah, and that's the only reason is it's not like that in the credits. They don't credit him as Henry. They credit him as Papa. And it was voiced by the incomparable Jeffrey Wright, soon to be the next Commissioner Gordon. Very excited about him in that one. He is freaking amazing. So, how weird would it have been, though, for Papa to have been John Lithgow in the story we have here? Because John Lithgow is really more of like a fun dad, right? Whereas like Jeffrey Wright's more like just like a teacher, stoic dad. And so I look back at that and go, well, that would have been kind of weird. Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, so there's some cool Easter eggs in here I wanted to show as well. So one of them is, as you guys know, in most movies, most Pixar movies, there is a nod to the next Pixar movie. There is a Pizza Planet truck, and there's usually a Pixar ball. Now the Pixar ball, I felt like that was a weird one because it was like they eat bad fruit. Spot and Arlo eat bad fruit, and they kind of hallucinate. And there's this little teeny tiny it's almost like they had a hallucination and it was in the hallucination. So that one was a little weird.
Yeah.
The Pixar the Pizza Planet truck I think was kind of genius, and it was right here in the very beginning. And of course you can pick it out right there, right? No, you can't. All right, so we're gonna enhance, and then if you still can't make it out, then there it is right there. Oh my gosh! Like again. It's so hard to see that when you look at the original picture. The very beginning, it's on the left-hand side of this, so it's very hard to see when it comes in. But I think they did a really cool job putting it in there and not making it in the way. I love the way they did it in Brave, where it's like part of the wood carvings that the old witch has. So that was kind of cool. Definitely not something I would have picked out on my own. This was something that some other geeks went and looked and found, and I went, oh, okay, here it is. I would never have found that one. The other one is that the movie that was supposed to come after this was Finding Dory. So because of that, when Arlo jumps into the water after being bitten by these cute little chipmunk things, in the water in the bottom corner is Hank, who is voiced by Modern Family's Jay, who I'm blanking on his name now, but Ed.
Oh my gosh.
I want to say Helms. I want to say Harris. Ed.
Names always slip my mind. Oh my gosh.
Ed O'Neill, I think, is his name. So anyway. Yes. So he's hidden in there, but it's like just a quick second, but they use that model, and it's kind of cool the way that they introduce it, because it would sort of make sense in that world. So kind of cool. So I mean, I love all the Pixar Easter eggs and things like that are in here. So they again, now these guys have buddied up. They have their family moment where they talk about their family, and he's trying to explain family. And Arlo's articulate and Spot's not. He can't say words, but Arlo can for some reason. And so I guess because of 65 million years of evolution. But he is trying to explain it with putting up these little sticks, and he makes a circle and says, "This is my family." And then the saddest little moment after Dad died. Spot makes this little circle, and he has these little sticks, and then he pushes the mom down, he pushes the dad down, and he covers them up that they're dead. Oh my gosh, it is heartbreaking. And again, it's really sad, and it's hard for me to continue to watch sad movies. And Pixar, nobody does sad like Pixar, do they?
Yeah, no. It's just something that they do really well. And every single movie there's a moment.
Yeah, what's the saddest moment in Pixar history in your mind?
Oh, in my mind, Up. The first, 8 minutes of Up? First 8 minutes of Up. Come on. They just start that movie.
Yep. And you know what? Because of that, I don't watch Up a lot. I mean, Bambi, Dumbo, these are sad movies, and they have a lot of heart, like you talked about, but it just makes me hurt to watch those movies when that happens. So, we talked about the fact that they kind of tease movies ahead of time. In the movie Inside Out, they tease a moment where Riley had a good time at like a dinosaur amusement park. There's the pet collector, and then their car rolls into what is theoretically like Arlo's tail there. So, again, kind of neat that these things exist in other movies, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then of course Saddest has to ruin that. Sadness. That's a conversation for another time, I guess. So with all of that, they are trying to make their way back home and to Arlo's home, not Spot's home, Arlo's home.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where another human appears, and Arlo, in a very kind of selfish way, takes Spot and like takes him away from that moment. And again, that feels like, I mean, is there a commentary on that, how we deal with pets? I don't know, like or that we as a society are just selfish and we want like to go on our journey and we don't want to share our journey with someone else. I mean, it seems like they share that at some point. And then in doing so, these pterodactyls, Steve Zahn is great as Thunderclap in this one. They take Spot away when if he had just let him go, he'd have been fine. But these guys show up and they take Spot away, and then Arlo has another hallucinogenic moment where he falls down a hill and he imagines his dad. Now, because again his dad was swept away by the water, was there ever a moment where you thought, is this really his dad?
Yeah, no, definitely. First time I saw the movie, I was like, oh, but then he wasn't speaking. And then it hit me and I was like, oh, I don't think this is his actual dad. Wait a minute. And then you see that revelation, or Arlo gets that revelation of, there's footprints and he has footprints, but then he looks and dad doesn't have any footprints. And I'm like, oh no. I was like, wow, if we didn't already have to see dad die, then we get that scene with Arlo and Spot talking about family. Then we get this, like, Arlo's really excited. He's like, oh my gosh, you're here. And then he has to, like, come to this realization of, oh, but you're not here at all. It kills me.
Yeah. It is again. It seems like a very again Mufasa type of a moment, right? Because I find a lot of parallels with this one and The Lion King that preceded it by 20 years. The fact that he's like his dad dies trying to save him, and the fact that he's gone, he just runs away from home, and then he has to make his way back, and what happened at home while he was gone. And it seems there's a lot of those moments in here that he needs to keep going on, and his vision of his dad kind of says, all right, wait a minute, he lives in you, kind of a thing. I kind of skipped over the scene with the cattle ranchers, which are they T-Rexes? Is that what they are?
I want to say so. They were huge. They were huge, and from what we know about T-Rex and how big they were, it looks like they might have been.
So yeah, but here's the weird part. So they're chasing after their herd, and when they finally catch up with their herd, and they're like, let's ride, and they run and they go hya, like they're like egging themselves on. Are they riding, like, are they the horse or are they the rider? It's so weird, right?
I have no idea. I laugh at that all the time.
And the bad part is that, like, Sam Elliott, you could not find a better, like, Western voice than Sam Elliott. And if you've never seen Sam Elliott, he's got the gray hair with the big fluffy gray mustache, and he is just as Western as it kind of comes. And he's just but him yelling yeah and at himself, it just didn't seem to make sense. And Anna Paquin, like, how did they go, you know what, who would be great for this female dinosaur?
Right?
Anna Paquin, like, how did they do that? I don't know. So in this one, Arlo is taught about his fear, and it's not about overcoming his fear or forgetting his fear. It's about working through his fear. And I think that's kind of the lesson. If there is a lesson in all of this, it's about what drives you to push through your fears, because that's what his dad was trying to get him to do. That's what, when he's blinded by rage to go after Spot, and then he's always still afraid, but he finds a way to press through his fears, and finally gets that moment where he presses through his fears to go save Spot on top of the mountain with these pterodactyls. And and then after they have this huge battle, they make their way back to they're headed back home, and here comes the human family again. And at this point, he has gotten to the point where he's gonna go ahead and share his journey. He's like, this is not where I'm going to make you come with me. This is where I'm going to say, this is where you need to be. You need to be with these people. Which again, they all seem to have gray hair, even the kids.
They do. They have gray hair and they have fur. and Spot, if you notice, Spot has just a little leaf. He's like Tarzan. And he has leaves, and this family all has fur, and they're on 2 feet.
Yeah, true. I see that you have passed me this, so I'm going to share this as another Easter egg, the A113. And I overlooked this, but this is a pretty smart showing of it. In the fence,
it's so good.
The A113 that is famous for any of the animators because of is it Caltech?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. That was one of those that's really well hidden. And again, that's what are you really going to do? This is supposed to take place in the age of dinosaurs. But going back to that again, just the environments in this movie are breathtaking. I don't know, short of maybe Brave, and even Brave, I don't think was quite this realistic. That there is anything that is as beautiful in a Pixar movie. I mean, obviously, when Pixar started with the clunky animation with Toy Story, that was something we'd never seen before. Even by the time we got to Incredibles, it was something that was it looked awesome, but it wasn't what we have today and how well made these movies are. Those environments are flawless.
Yeah.
But then the off-color green on Arlo and his weird shapes, it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. So
which has always been something something that I wonder, because so after the Good Dinosaur, like you said, there hasn't been anything that they've used that technology, or they've been flexing as much as they flexed in the Good Dinosaur. Even I have written on my notes, the scenery, they have some just scenery in the credits, and the scenery in the credits is so well done, but I haven't seen anything like that since the Good Dinosaur, and it's just such a weird thing. And I always think okay, maybe this movie might check that list, and it didn't. Onward, I thought Onward, I was like, okay, maybe the scenery in Onward might take that, but it didn't. So I've always been trying to think ahead and being when are we going to see this sort of technology and this sort of, animation again for scenery?
Yeah.
And it's such a weird thing that we haven't seen it yet.
So looking at the chat, Patrick said Anna Paquin is in this monstrosity. Patrick, come on, man. I mean, Patrick and I watched Mars Needs Moms. I mean, that's a monstrosity. Yeah. This one, just I need you to take it down just a little bit, man. We're gonna get to High School Musical 3. Don't worry, buddy. I mean, it's the art itself has gotten to be just such a great place. And you have the shirt and also the poster in the background. That art is stunning. That is so good.
It is. I have a theatrical poster in my room of The Good Dinosaur. The Good Dinosaur is not my favorite Pixar film by far. And honestly, as much as people don't like Cars 2, this is below Cars 2. But that's a story. That's another conversation. But yeah, no, the art of this movie is just breathtaking. And I remember when I went into a comic book store, I was back at home in Miami, and they had it. I was like, man, they have this. They have Incredibles 2, and I think they had Finding Dory. and I was like, ugh, out of all of them, The Good Dinosaur is a humongously, like, just so good. It's just so good that I just had to buy it.
All right, so let me position this way. And by the way, if y'all are watching right now, thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate you watching this live. If you're watching it later, thank you for finding us. And if you have not yet, please give us a like, because a thumbs up helps other people find this. And we really enjoy hanging out and talking about movies with you guys. And because people love unboxings, if we can get to 50, I'm going to unbox this Star Tours Wish Bowl. And sorry to pick this one out, Wolf, because I know you're not a Star Wars fan.
That's fine.
So if we get to that point, I'll let the chat choose between that and this Marvel mystery key. So anyway, I know, right? Big time. People loved unboxings. So let's talk about numbers. This is what I want to ask you, though. Okay, before we talk about numbers, this is what I want to ask you. Phantom Menace in Star Wars, and again, you're not a Star Wars fan, but it came out
I was like, wait,
so far after the original trilogy. And one of the things that was said about it was for that generation's like youth, not for the old stodgy people like me who had loved the first movie, but it was for the people who were targeted on the first time. They were targeting the second time, like a youth sort of a thing. Is it possible? Because I've seen some criticisms of The Good Dinosaur that say that it was because it was geared towards children, which, God forbid, that an animated movie be geared towards children. How dare you, sir? How dare you? But is it the possibility that, maybe you grew up with Toy Story or Cars or something like that, and that this was one for another generation rather than it being specifically for us, and maybe that's why we feel like it missed the mark? Or am I way off base on that?
So here's how I'm going to answer that. I want to agree, but after The Good Dinosaur, they haven't made a movie like that ever again. So it's one thing to say yes, but then it's like, even in their eyes, I feel like if we're going to go on that train, even in their eyes, they were like, well, we shouldn't do this again. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, so some movies are definitely, I feel like, made for older audiences. I think Soul is made for an older audience. Yes. I think that probably WALL-E is made for an older audience. I think Up is made for an older audience. I think Ratatouille is made for an older audience. And I think that, like, Incredibles is kind of an everybody thing, and Toy Story, and I don't know, Onward probably made for more of a in-between age,
In between,
that, yeah. But yeah, maybe that's the case. I don't know, but I feel like Luca might be back toward that younger demo.
Yes.
And so maybe we'll see if Luca hits the mark or misses. Which is another thing that bothers me, that we've had all of these, I don't know if you've had this problem in Florida, but there's been a pandemic going on. I don't know if you guys have that down there or not. You don't seem to. You don't seem to have that problem at all. But the rest of the world has been having this pandemic, and a lot of things have been shut down, and movies have been, canceled or moved to online instead. So I find it strange that I brought this up somewhere else. Raya, Mulan, Black Widow, and even Cruella are all premiere access on Disney Plus, and on top of that, they are available, some of them, in theaters at the same time. For the Pixar movies, and Pixar is a huge brand. That was a big get. That is one of the big boxes when you pull up Disney Plus. Pixar, the past two movies now, Soul and now Luca, are available for free on Disney Plus instead of being premiere access. And I think that we talked about maybe it was that there was an African American lead in the first one, I think was what we kind of talked about, and maybe that was a challenge. Okay, but Luca, why give that away for free? Because I was looking forward to that movie. Like, I would see that in the theater.
Yep. I
would have seen Soul in the theater. I mean, I love Pixar movies, just like you. Sometimes they're disappointing. I didn't have a great reaction to Onward in the theater. I think it's the end messed me up a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Turning Red, not looking forward to it, but but Lightyear, definitely looking forward to that one. So
Yep.
I don't know. It's just a thought. So let me get back to some numbers here about. So the numbers for Good Dinosaur, $332 million is made worldwide. $332 million is not chump change. I would not mind having $332 million. However, they say that it was a budget of 175 to 200 million. Wait, 175 to 200? There's a $25 million variance? I don't know who's doing the books on that one, but that seems weird.
I can see that.
But then they said that there was a $350 million marketing campaign for this. I guess that paid for production of that shirt you're wearing. I don't know.
Which is funny because this I got at Disney Parks blog does
showing
does things, and I won this as a trivia question.
There you go. What was it? What is the dad's name? It's Henry. Was that the one? Because you nailed that one earlier. So this was considered Pixar's first bomb, and maybe its only bomb. Like, I don't know. I mean, we haven't looked deeper into Cars 2 and how that one did, but yet it did a significant amount of money aftermarket on DVD sales and Blu-ray sales, and it was like apparently the number one selling DVD and Blu-ray at the time. So I wonder, did people just not understand the movie? Did they not get it? Or was there just bad word of mouth?
Well, you also got to think about it. Remember how earlier we were talking about the fact that it was supposed to come out, I believe it was 2013. Then it was pushed to 2014. And then it was pushed to 2015. So at some point or another, they did come out and say that the script was scrapped and they were working on a new script for the movie. That has to be one of these, like, I don't know how regular people, like, like I'm going to go see the movie either way kind of thing. But regular movie watching audiences, I don't know, like if you hear that like something's being, like reworked or something so close to it coming out, it's kind of like, well, if they don't trust it, then why am I going to go watch it, kind of thing. But I guess after then people were kind of like, oh, Pixar had a movie. I didn't pay any attention to it, and my kids like Pixar, so why not? I'll go buy it. But I don't know, that's how I feel. Like, it might have just been like bad word of mouth.
Yeah.
At first,
Could be.
Yeah.
And I don't think Disney believed in it too much, because if you look at their offerings for when the thing came out, there was some toys. There wasn't a ton. There was people at the TRex were wearing your T-shirt there for the Good Dinosaur. They did some stuff at Disney Springs. I'm sure Downtown Disney in California probably did the same thing. But just some. Yeah, there it is. So just some random. There's some banners and some chalk drawings. A little bit of a celebration. I think they did some kind of balloon animals and a dinosaur like dance.
Dance party, probably.
Yeah, and they handed out whatever that is. I guess. Oh, it's a frisbee. That's right.
Oh, it's a frisbee. Yeah, I have that.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do.
So I don't know. It just seemed like they didn't put a ton into it. Like they weren't overly excited about this one. And maybe they knew, maybe they had focus tested and they just were like, hey, you know what? We've had this for 3 years. We just need to get it out to people and move on. So,
well, it's one of those things that like right now you try to look for Good Dinosaur merch and you can't find anything. Like you go into like the Disney parks and you can find plush of, pretty much everything. They even have an Ellie plush now at the Disney store. Ellie from Up, and she's in the movie, and I'm talking about like old Ellie, and she's in the movie for like 3 minutes, kind of thing. But you try to look for Arlo, or you try to look for Spot plush, or just anything, and it's very hard to find. I have one piece of art from Joey Cho, and I grabbed it because I was like, this is the first time that I see anything, Good Dinosaur related for art, because it's just not done for some reason, and I feel like it's because of that like it's just there's not like a market, which is weird because besides cars, and I'm not even talking about like Pixar cars, just like Hot Wheels and stuff like that, cars and dinosaurs are one of the two top like toys. Just anytime, like kids are just obsessed with both cars and dinosaurs. So it's such a weird thing that they like couldn't sell this merchandise.
And you know there's some other marketing they could have done for that, but I'm looking at just real quick. I'm looking at the chat, and Chief Leaf says, "I'm hoping Luca will be a little more complex than it looks." Dawn says, "I'm behind on Pixar movies," and Good Dinosaur also lacking compared to Inside Out, which came out the same year. The commercial,
Which is another thing, yeah.
Mina, the commercial didn't sell it for me. It wasn't until I read the box for the DVD that I knew what the plot was. And then Neko says it wasn't until tonight that I knew what the plot was. Fair. That's fair. That's fair. No, you're talking about like dinosaurs, cars and dinosaurs. Kids love dinosaurs, right? And you've got Dino Land, and you've got the dinosaur attraction, and you had Ellen's Energy Adventure. Like, why couldn't you have, like, I mean, they've done it before with their synergy. Why couldn't you have merged them in somehow, to kind of cross that over? I mean, the dinosaur attraction itself is made on a movie that wasn't a huge success. I mean, the original dinosaur movie from Disney, which was like kind of their first big foray into realistic live action, like a realistic computer generated movie. And it like, I mean, it kind of, that's kind of lacking as well. Like maybe they just don't know how to make a good dinosaur movie.
I will die on the hill of the fact that Disney wanted to add the Good Dinosaurs into the theme parks. I'm going to die on that hill. I really think they wanted to, but you just can't do it if it's not going to be, especially because it comes from Pixar. Like, you can't implement stuff into the parks if it's not, like big or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree. I agree. There are a lot of movies that are dear to my heart that aren't represented in the parks because they weren't huge successes. I think Patrick Hackett wishes there was a John Carter of Mars attraction somewhere, which, by the way, you should watch our review on that one. But I think that there are some movies that miss the mark because they don't explain very well what they are. This one we talked about had a lot of production issues. It may have been destined for challenges from the beginning, but it does seem like at its heart it is a dinosaur Pixar movie. That seems like on paper you just wrote a big fat blank check that you could just cash in, right? So I don't know, like, I'm pretty sure that they would take that pitch any day of the week. They probably were sitting there going, well, we've done more than 20 movies now. What do we do? Well, we haven't done a dinosaur movie yet. Yeah. Let's do a dinosaur movie. Let's get that one on the table. But there's just something lacking with it that didn't draw people's attention to it. So, so we've talked about like the movie, the cast, the time period, the challenges that it had, all of those type of things. Is there anything that we're missing before we go into your final thoughts on this?
So I wrote down there when this is a big one for me. When Arlo meets the TRex, they mention the fact that they are heading to a watering hole, and someone at the watering hole can help him get home. They never get to the watering hole. They never do it, and it bugs me so much. Because they implant that in your head, and they're like, oh, someone's going to help him. Someone's going to help him. And you're like, who's going to help him? I wonder. No one, because they never make it.
Well, I mean, that could have been part of the retooling of the movie. They could have said to themselves, hey, you know what? This will be another part of it, and then they just cut it out. There are some deleted scenes, but none of them seem to speak to, like, a watering hole and something that would be happening there, right? So,
no.
Okay, that's fair. This movie is an hour and 33-minute runtime, which is about average for, I think, a Pixar movie. I think I've seen some up to almost 2 hours, and I think we've seen some a little shorter than this. But the 90 minutes seems to be the cutoff on any animated movie, usually 88 to 90 minutes as a minimum. But I will applaud Disney Plus for putting extras on The Good Dinosaur, which is weird because there's a lot of top-notch movies that they don't put put extras on, and so it's got some deleted scenes. They were DVDs. Look them up, kids. There were DVDs that used to come out, and on the DVDs there would be extras. Are there extras on that DVD, sir? Look at all those extras.
Right there.
Look at all those extras. See, is that Sanjay?
Not focusing.
Sanjay
Sanjay's.
So Sanjay,
It's not
Sanjay's
focusing,
was the Pixar, the short that opened this up in the theater. So yeah, like there's so many, and they're available. They're on the DVDs and Blu-rays that they own, and they don't put them on Disney Plus. That seems like such a miss. There are some. There's more than there are on Netflix or any of the other platforms, but they're just. I feel like there needs to be more. As much as these movies are for people who love movies, there should be more of the behind-the-scenes stuff available that's already there. It seems like it's just a matter of getting, Tara the intern to burn it over to to digitize it. I don't know. There should be a way to make that happen, and I think it would increase the value of this product so much. And so I'm always impressed when they do put on extras, but it really bothers me when there aren't a ton of extras, knowing that there is more out there. So a lot of times it's just, here's a clip from the movie. When Patrick and I reviewed Darby O'Gill and the Little People, it was like, here's a clip from the movie. That's all you've got? No, that can't be true. There's got to be something else.
Right?
Yeah. So there really should be more things involved with that one. I do wish that there was some other representation from this in the parks at this point, but I do get that it's a big risk, because again, there have been things like the dinosaur attraction, Countdown to Extinction, that were made before they knew whether the movie was going to be a hit or not.
Yeah.
But I still love that attraction.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so again, we've talked about all of these neat, cool things about this movie that we possibly can to try to get people excited about it. I would also ask anybody in the chat if you've gotten this far with this movie. I'd like to know if you've watched it already, if you watched it for this show, or if you're going to watch it after we've talked about it here. Just like hit us up in the chat. Let me know. I'm very excited to hear what people think about when we're talking about these movies. So let me know. Let us know. But in the meantime, I need to get your final thoughts on this. So Eric Wolf, we've talked about the Good Dinosaur. You're a Pixar fan. Would you recommend this movie?
So here's the thing. I agree. I think it is a great movie for younger viewers. I have friends that have nieces and nephews that love this movie, and I think it goes back to the fact that kids just love dinosaurs. And it's a simple movie, simple plot. So if you don't mind, that it's not Pixar's best when it comes to plots, because I think scenery, Pixar's best movie. The character designs are really, really great in this movie as well. But if you don't mind the fact that the plot isn't as complex as other Pixar movies, then I say, hey, go for it, I think you're still gonna enjoy the visuals and enjoy the heart of the movie that Pixar, at the end of the day, still did well in this movie. But if you're one of those people that enjoy plots and you kind of want something a little bit more complex, you don't necessarily need to see this. And again, like we said, it's not even part of the parks. There's no integration. You can't really buy any merch for this. So I'll feel bad if you really enjoy this movie and you can't find any merch.
True. So, first of all, Lauren said in response to what we were talking about DVDs that There are not a lot of extras on Pocahontas on Disney Plus, so thank goodness for my DVD. Chief Leaf says, I saw it 3 times. Space Wrangler, I watched it last year. My son and I did a Pixar marathon. That is something that I think that a lot of people do Marvel marathons, because there are 23 movies in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It gets really sticky if you start adding like all the TV shows and all of the like the shorts, the one-shots and things like that. You've got about 65 at that point, so buckle up. But I mean, we've been all locked inside for like 18 months, so... And then the Star Wars ones, like I mean, you can watch all 11 Star Wars movies in the same way, and again, integrate the TV shows and things like that. So it is very bingeable to watch all of the Pixar movies, and they're available on Disney Plus. So that's a great thing too. Especially, I think I used to try to binge them before I would go and see the next one. The 23, 24 to watch that's 23 before Luca. that's probably not going to happen. So. Aubrey says, I watched it. It was a very good movie. Dawn says, I've seen it previously and it's meh for me. And Shelley says, we've watched it a few times, not as much since my daughter's getting older. So, Pink Tiger, it's a cute movie, but I saw previews of it and at the Bugs Life attraction in Animal Kingdom before it was released. And after watching the movie, I was feeling like I could have skipped it and not missed anything. So, you know what? For me, I would say, again, probably I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't put myself out there for this one. I like it. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I got a chance to go back and revisit it, because this is one where if I said to anybody, hey, you want to rewatch this movie? They're like, not that one. But honestly, not as bad as Cars 2. I still haven't gotten anybody to go back and watch Cars 2 with me. So I would say that this one probably is like, back there at the end. I would tell you that I think, you wouldn't go back and watch Cars 2?
I will watch Cars 2.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's watch Cars 2. Because again, I like these movies. Like even a bad, kind of like we talk about the parks, even a bad Disney attraction is going to be better than like some good attractions at other parks. Even a bad Pixar movie is better than a lot of other movies. Like, I have never seen Norm of the North, but I can probably guarantee that Good Dinosaur is better than Norm of the North. Look it up. It was a movie that came into the theaters. It was a thing. So, I would say if you have not seen this and you're doing a binge, it's not going to hurt you to watch it, but I wouldn't put myself out there for that. So, again, we didn't quite hit the 50 likes, so we'll hold on to the wishable for next time. But thank you guys so much for watching. We really appreciate it. Please give us a thumbs up if you haven't. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not. There's a lot of great content on this channel. We've got Ink and Paint and Outside the Bubble and and Cosmic Read, and who knows when Wolf will come back and do something magical with us as well. So there is so much good content on here. We would love for you guys to come back with us, and at the very least come back and spend next Tuesday night with us for another episode of Deep in the Plus. Wolf, thanks so much for being with me. I appreciate it. And everybody else, have a great night. See ya.
Bye, guys.